checklist that I made to see like what you need to know how to do, and that's in the files as well. So she's gonna walk through just how to right now with different systems. Do you need to connect up here so you can put?
Yeah, I have.
You can do it here. You have it already. All right. What is that?
I'm just looking at the schedule, the weekly schedule itself.
Really haven't seen it.
She had an Apple TV.
I made what I do.
You can AirDrop onto your TV.
What?
I said you should get an Apple TV so that way from your laptop you get AirDrop.
It's too fancy for Kathy.
Well, this isn't tomorrow's schedule, but this is what you guys have seen. This is my. Oh, you can do that. That's for the new.
Apple TV.
Which they get what you want.
Right.
Really?
Oh, you put all your documents down.
So like I'm
It's
you know,
They wanna be wireless.
Well, my color.
Okay.
always make
Oh
it
my
10
God.
cents. It's not.
All right, cool.
Right.
But I think when you go on like Vector Live or Vector Connect to show them like how to do their stuff, you have that all. All right.
I'm prepared. Jeez.
Do I need my phone? I don't
Yes.
need my phone. Nope, the girl's not
Nope.
in here. I'll grab it if I need it.
All right.
All right. By the way, if we have PDI calls come in, we already talked about this, which is going to be great for everyone to listen to. She'll be doing live PDI calls on speakerphone. Cool? From the guys who just launched out. They
Yeah,
can see.
speaking of, Lorena, if you could, can you grab me
It's on
my blue book, there, price list.
Okay.
That way I have it ready to go. All right, sweet. So we're gonna go over this
Did
stuff
my
here.
iPad not allow you to download the document? Did I ever send you the email?
Thanks,
I
Letty.
never got the agenda. Still got the.
Got my stuff ready to go. Take some
Never got the-
PDI.
Okay.
But it's okay. I'm good.
All right, cool. We're gonna go over these sections here. So administrative, and then we're gonna go over everything in development except for PDI, because we're gonna talk about PDI separately after the break. So we're gonna do admin stuff, which is always so much fun, and then we are going to do PDI, which is the most exciting stuff. So,
I haven't already said the rest of the stuff.
huh? Oh. All right, cool. That's fine. So administrative, the first thing is we're going to talk about checking QPR, which happens on Sunday, obviously, at the PSP meeting, the qualified presentation report. Please tell me all of you have seen this before, right? Yes, you've all seen this paper? Okay, just checking. Yeah. What? It's ridiculous.
I didn't know QPR until 4 months into the job.
Oh, wow.
They didn't tell me at all.
All right, cool. So
Oh, that's what you rated, right. I never filled one out.
we're just gonna go over the 3 different ways to check a QPR. So the first one is after their first weekend, and we're checking it in advanced training on Monday. The second one we're gonna go over is their first Sunday. So pretty much right before their fast start ends, that Sunday, right before it ends on Monday, and then we're gonna go over just a regular QPR check that you do on a weekly basis. So the first time that you check a representative's QPR is on Monday in advanced training. And there's certain things that you want to look for after advanced training. What do you think are some things you want to count as like red flags? Not seeing the right people. So you want to make sure they're not seeing single people. Remember, they're not supposed to see anybody that's not a MAC on the weekend, unless you give them like one exception because it's like their mom or something like that. But even then, like I had one of my reps today. He was like, oh, you know, my mom, whatever, I'm going to go see her. And I was like, oh, is she a MAC? He's like, no. I was like, dude, you want to wait till after.
Oh, because you guys were using it for I'm like, who's making a sandwich for us? That's
I don't
We
know.
weren't making a sandwich, we were spreading it on celery and carrots.
Yeah. They're Cutco reps.
That's what I know.
You give me on that.
But yeah, I just told my representative, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was like, I know you're really fired up to see your mom. Why not see her Monday night after I teach you the secret weapon? You're going to be able to sell so much more to her. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, you definitely want to wait. And he's seeing his mom on Monday night, you know? So get them to see as many Macs as possible their first weekend. But if you see on Monday when they turn in their QPR that there's a single person on there, can anybody give me an example or quick run through of how you would handle that situation? Anybody want to give it a stab?
The person's unqualified?
Yeah, person's unqualified. So what would you say? You, Francisco, it's gonna be you.
Nah,
You're fired. Get out of here.
Nah, just nah, if it's their first weekend, after their first week, it's like, hey, bro. Well, they've already done a demo for them, right? I'm assuming they already put out a QPR.
Yeah, this is their QPR that you're checking on Monday in advanced training.
I don't think this is the best way anymore, but the way I used to do it was the fact that I would just go ahead and sit down with them. Hey, brother or sister. Hey, great job of getting all these demos in. That's a good amount in, right? But hey, I really want you to do really well, and I know you're seeing. I know you're excited, and I get really excited too. We have shared that in common. But one thing for sure, I do want you to see the best people, so you can have the best pass start to your contest. So, and then I guess I just go ahead and just point out how that person can qualify, and explain to them how, hey, you want to see that?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. So that's not entirely wrong, all right? Because you definitely want to tell them why they want to see Max. But
By the way, this is really she's pulling over right now because I walked through it earlier, and even she was like, "Man, there's some of the stuff that
I just grabbed my paper. I just grabbed my paper because I was
Yeah,
like,
because this is really huge. When you do this properly, you're going to drive a lot of productivity, and you're also going to eliminate your base pay chasers. You want to waste a lot of money, don't do this, and you're going to spend a lot of stupid money in the summer. If you do this properly, you do two things. You save yourself from stupid money, but you also create more money because people really have the right expectations, and they get their foundations down, they get their 9, 10, 20, or 8, 9, and 15 down. They know their rocks, they know their clothes, and they're performing at a higher level, so that's really important.
yeah. So when it's their first weekend on the job, you kind of want to like, I guess, give it to them. You always want to pay their first weekend. No, that's mine. Sorry, it's annoying. That's Karina. But you always want to pay them their first weekend and take the blame for not being clear. Even though we all know how clear we are in training about not seeing Max, you check their schedule. I don't even know how many times on day 2, yet people will still book non-Mac customers because they think they're like, oh, but my buddy, he's like the manager at Applebee's. He's like so rich. He's loaded, Meanwhile, they have, yeah, my buddy owns a restaurant. Yeah. So what you want to tell them is just like, hey, do you remember in training when I talked about how you're not really ready to see Max just yet? Or to see non-Max just yet. I haven't really taught you how to shoot those shots. And they'll always be like, yeah, oh, I forgot, stuff like that. So then at that point, you just take the blame and you're like, oh, my bad if I wasn't clear, but take ownership for it. And if you guys use the basketball analogy in training, you can just use like the whole layup thing. Like, I've only taught you how to shoot layup shots yet. You're not ready to shoot like the free throws and the 3-pointers. Yeah.
Take a dinner break. Does anyone want macaroni and cheese?
I'm so down. Yes. Mac and
Raise your
cheese.
hand if you want mac and cheese so we make it up. Alright, we'll just make a lot of mac and cheese.
By the way, Kat, Nathan just set up 2 more demos. He's like making calls right now, and he's like, I don't know what you told him, but he's excited.
It's called magic. Magic when you build on the DVM.
Yeah.
Go.
All right, cool. So yeah, just take ownership for it, and again, explain why it's better to see Max. But just by simply using the analogy, it's they're gonna understand. It's just logical. Like, you're not ready to see those people yet. I always tell them, like, until you're at $3,000 in sales, and your page is 8, 9, and 15, you really should be sticking to Mac customers. Remember also that on Monday they should have their page 15 memorized, or they should know their page 15. If not, you can always plant the seed for potentially putting them on a base pay freeze their first Sunday in Vector. Have you guys ever heard of base pay freeze before or no? All right, basically. Base pay, it's a privilege. It's almost like if you're a waitress, what do you have to learn to be a waitress? The menu, right? Or else you can't be a waitress. If you're a professional football player, you have to know the plays in the playbook, or the coach is not going to play you. And this is how we explain to the representatives. So I'm like, I know you didn't get your page 15 down today. Let's try getting it down by the end of advanced training. It's really easy. By next Sunday, you should have your pages 8 and 9 down. And you don't have to use like negative words like putting you on probation or anything like that. Just like, we're gonna have to just put you on freeze, because it makes sense for me as a coach. I can't just have players going out in the field if they don't know the plays, right? And they're like, yeah, that makes sense, you know? So you're getting kind of like their permission. So the next Sunday, if they don't know their skills, it's just like, hey, remember we talked about,
That's where you tell them, like, be like, they're on basic probation. You can say that, but like not me. Just like, hey, look, you don't have your stuff down. Like if you don't, it's just like whether you play sports or you can't get on the field if you don't know the plays, or as a waitress, or whether you can't work as a waiter if you don't know the menu. Then we have to put you on probation. I don't want to see that happen. So tell them that the first time. That way, like, oh, okay, because that makes sense. It registers. It's not a mean thing. It's not I'm putting on probation. It's here's how it works. Like anyone knows, if you don't know the place, you're not going out in the field. If you don't know the menu, I could not be a waitress at my restaurant until I had the menu down. Then they let me on the floor. I was a hostess, and I would study the menu when I was a hostess, so I could be serving on the floor. My job prior to Cutco. So it registers with people. Sports analogy and restaurant analogy is awesome. And you say, hey, I want to be like, if you don't know yourself the next week, you do go on probation until you know it, because that's so crucial. Like you shouldn't even be allowed to work without knowing those things. But we give you a week to get them down. Cool? So let's make sure we study hard so that way we can help elevate your performance. Do you guys see how we do that?
I'm reporting.
Is that how you guys always do it?
No?
Wait, when did it become?
Okay, so let me just go through, I guess, that little timeline real quick. Yeah, let me just go through that timeline then real quick. They should have their page 15 memorized, or they should know their page 15 by Monday. That's the assignment that we give them over the weekend is for advanced training. They know their page 15. It's really just, and what I make them memorize is not like the whole thing. It's those bullets that start off with I get paid, and then until like explaining the sponsorship, because that's the most important part. Like that's the part where if they know it by heart, that they say it with confidence, that's how they're gonna get. Right, that whole little section right there. That's what we have them. So I have them circle those 4 bullets in training, and they should know that by Monday. Then on Monday in advanced training, that's where we promote know your pages 8 and 9 by really Wednesday in team meeting. And then at team meeting when we go to test them in advanced training too, they never know it. And that's when I bring up again, base pay freeze and all that stuff on Sunday. So I've already told them twice about it. So when we talk to them on their first Sunday paycheck meeting, there's like no excuses. They already know from like 3 times seeing us in the office, from Saturday training, Monday advanced training, Wednesday advanced training and team meeting, and then again on Sunday, that they were going to be put on freeze if they didn't, get their skills down. The cool thing is that with your like lower level reps that might have been chasing the base pay, you're already cutting off their base pay, so you're not spending that extra money on them. Doing all these random appointments with unqualified people, and then your top guys, they get their skills down. So they're obviously going to perform, at a higher level because they know their pages 8, 9, and 15. Imagine if all of your representatives knew their basics, right? It'd be ridiculous. So, but that was like Kathy's summer last summer. All her top kids, they knew their basics like right away, and that's why they all sold so much. So this, like she said, puts money in your pocket and also saves you a lot of money too. So yeah, so just to review one more time, in advanced training, they're not seeing qualified people. It's just you want to give them that whole analogy: waitress, football player, and just let them know that if they don't get it down by the next time you see them, that they could be on freeze. And it's coming from a place of like you're caring about them and wanting to see them succeed, not like you want to fire them,
Because you're not making your money.
Yeah, and you could even explain to them why knowing it is beneficial. By knowing this, you're gonna build a larger rec base. And even with some of my lower level kids, sometimes I'll even be like, even if you feel like you're not seeing the best people, that's kind of the way I put it. I'm like, even if you feel like you're not seeing the best people, I don't know if you think you are or not, and they'll be like, no, I'm not. I'm like, well, hey, guess how you can, see better people by getting a lot of recommendations.
Actually,
So.
good story after that.
Huh? Yeah, I mean, one of my representatives, his name was Leventhal Curtis in Miami. I remember when I was a brand new assistant manager, Kathy started me off with lower level kids to manage, and I was really excited because I was a brand new assistant. So I was like, that was my little team. It was Leventhal, and then his sister, I don't even remember her name. She sold like $3K. He ended up selling like 6 or 7K before he left Cutco. But I remember having that conversation with him, like, hey, I don't know, you may or may not be seeing the best people. And he was like, no. We brainstormed a little bit, figured out he knows all these like church people, whatever, ended up selling to those people and getting before he left me, he had like 200 or 300 recommendations of like church people, like really good, like solid Mac customers, you know? So this really helps build them up the right way and build their business. So yeah, now let's say you're going through the QPR Monday advanced training, and we'll talk about that in a normal week because we'll talk about all the sales stuff after. So the next time that you see them for QPR would be their first Sunday, right before they're finished with their fast start. So first thing that you check on there, obviously, is check their skills. If they don't know their skills, the base pay freeze conversation is way easy because you already set it up the weekend before. So you just have to tell them, hey, remember when we spoke about XYZ? Yeah, and you didn't get your skills down. So we could do one of two things. You can either stick around here today. I'll help you, memorize this or know these pages, and by the end of today, you can take your kit with you, and we can keep rocking appointments. Or I'll take your kit today, and you can keep studying, and Wednesday night on team meeting, I'll test you again. And 90% of the time, they're like, oh, I'll just stay today and memorize it. The small 10% that don't, by the way, they're base pay chasers, and they're not going to show up to your team meeting anyway. So saved yourself some time and energy where you didn't really necessarily need to put it. So, because if you let them keep their kit, they're still gonna log like those appointments and come in, but like, oh, but I did them, oh, but the contract said, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna take your kit, leave it here in the office because you're on freeze right now. You can't do appointments. You don't know your basics, and we already spoke about this. And then you give them another opportunity to get it down. And once they get it down, I have them book 3 to 5 appointments, depending on who the kid is. If it's like a lower level rep, definitely 5 appointments with Mac customers. If it's somebody who's like pretty decent, 3 Mac customer appointments, I'll let them check it back out if they know their skills. Cool?
I wish I was eating my summer.
Huh?
I promise you. I wish I was eating my
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, I wait this so much
So
space.
you preface this some training.
Mhm.
Say, Monday advanced training, I'm gonna be doing a skills check.
I tell them, I'll just tell you what I tell them. Like, all right, guys, so another one of your assignments is to know your pages 15. Go there real quick, circle these 4 bullets. I tell them which ones to circle. And then I'm like, you want to know this by Monday's advanced training, okay? I'm going to be doing a skills check, all right? Normally, whenever we do skills checks, if you don't get it down, I'll give you like a week and a half to really get this down perfectly, your basics, 8, 9, 15. If you don't have it down by then, we have what's called, base pay freeze, where we take away pretty much your base pay privilege because you don't really know the plays. And I use the same waitress football player analogy, and they all get it. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And like, and by the way, didn't all of you come here to make more than $16 an appointment? And they're like, yeah, I wanted to make sure. I'm like, cool, then you need to know this. If you don't know this, that's what you're going to be making for like the rest of your
So
career
you
here.
done the assignments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last thing, okay. And then you check it Monday, and then you give them till advanced training. Then you preface the next thing in advanced training about the closing pages 8, 9, and you check that on advanced training too.
Right. So then, and this is, by the way, as you're checking in for advanced training. So I'm not really wasting any
So when they're
time.
walking in, you just do a quick
Yeah. And if you have an assistant, they can help you, especially if you have like larger training classes and you want to get started right away.
And if they don't know pages 8 and 9, you give them till
Sunday. And I'm like, this is your last shot to know your pages 8, 9, or 15, and then we'll have to talk about,
Do they
base
come
pay
in, I
freeze.
guess, phone jam on Sunday or something, like, or do you just check it over at PDI?
Sunday?
No, yeah.
Oh, Sunday we have the PSP meeting, paycheck schedule phone jam. I don't know if you guys do that. No.
Maybe we call it something else.
What do you call it?
Yeah, like all day, but that's fine.
So Sundays are just like,
Okay, well, just so you know, what we do in Miami is basically we set a time for a PSP meeting, which is usually 5 or 5:30, and we always tell them you can either come in an hour and a half before the meeting and be done right when PSP is over, or you can come in at PSP and be done an hour and a half after. And basically what we do is when they get there, we check their QPR, we go over everything with them, we check their leads, make sure they have enough names, and we have them phone jam at the office. Then they stay for PSP, and then at the PSP meeting, it's almost like a mini team meeting. We don't go through like tons of recognition or anything like that. It's almost like getting, recognizing so far the updates for the week, telling them like the active plan for the week, getting people signed up, and getting their PRs, obviously. So we rep drive on Sundays too, and then they're out of there and good to go. Then we have the reps that get there for PSP. After PSP, we'll do the same thing. Check their QPR. make sure they have enough numbers to call, have a phone jam, get their PRs, and then they're off and ready to go. Paycheck, schedule, and phone jam. And it's also part of the day 3 talk too at the end with the assignments. And they don't go to their first weekend on the job. They don't go to PSP. They go their first Sunday, which is the next week. Cool. So that's how we do it. That way you're having that promised PC with them on a week-to-week basis, because in your interview, I mean, I haven't really fully read through the Southwest script, but you guys talk about PCs, right? How they get one-on-one time with a manager.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, then you're not really, doing what you promised them. So that gives you the time to really PC them on a weekly basis. So when I was a DM, I loved Sundays because the top kids that maybe I couldn't find a time to meet with during the week for like a real PC, I had at least those like 10, 15 minutes with them on Sunday where I can check their skills real quick, see where they're at in their business, and help them so that they're ready to go for the week. This also helps keep your reps in check. So,
And you have an outline of like the PSP meeting.
Yeah, we have a whole Sunday outline I can have Kathy uploaded to the Facebook. But you definitely want to, and it's awesome, and it does walk through some base pay conversations too. So going back to their first Sunday in the office. Again, it's just making sure that they know their skills, and if not, giving them that option to stay there and review it, or give them till Wednesday to get it down. And like I said, the ones that don't get it down, they usually don't show up to Wednesday team meeting, and it'll be up to you if you want to save them or not. But just remember 80-20 management to put.
Focus on your top 80%.
No, focus on your top 20%, and your bottom 80% will be through event-to-event management. So then the last time that you're seeing them on a weekly basis is just the weekly Sunday meeting. And this is great for a couple different reasons. First of all, for the skills check, but second of all, you can really dive into their business with them and see, like, for example, if they're selling like a homemaker of pieces. This is like our top guy, Nathan. Like, I'm sitting with him last week and I'm literally looking at his orders with him, and he sold trade and homemaker plus a piece order. I'm like, do you not know how to drop down? Like, do we not go over this in training kind of thing? And it gives you that opportunity to have them drop down for you. So I'm like, I want you to do for me exactly what you do for your customer if they say no to the homemaker. He's like, well, I just asked them what are their 3 to 5 favorite pieces. I'm like, all right.
So use that one.
Yeah. So then I'm like, all right, Nathan, we need to revamp this a little bit. He hasn't done. Well, he did do a demo actually since then. We sold another trade and homemaker, but whatever. So now he knows properly how to drop down. So it gives you that opportunity to dive into their business. You could also check their recs and see how they're building their business too. So I've had people before that they'll like sell like $2-3 grand a week, and then like their total recs for the week after doing like 7 appointments is like 15. I'm like, all right, tell me your page 15. And by the way, you might have skills checked them, and they might have already passed their skills check already, but they probably like haven't been saying page 15 to their customers correctly. They might sound weird when they're saying it, because there's really only 2 reasons why people don't get recs. They're either saying it weird or they smell bad. One of the 2. All right, because if you're a joy on your appointments and you say page 15 with confidence, you're gonna get recommendations. You could be like, you could have the worst demo in the world and get a crap ton of recommendations, right? I'm sure all of you know that from like at some point or another, in the business. So it gives you that opportunity as well to check the recommendations. And I remember hearing Kathy have so many of these PCs. And even my first summer in Cutco, I remember hearing her have a PC with Angie, one of my best friends, and it was the same thing. She's like, I'm not getting your recommendations. She's like, well, I know you don't smell bad, so it must be because you're asking weird, and don't be afraid to tell it to representative. It registers with them that it's just them, and the way that they're saying it. So, and that's on a continual basis every single Sunday. And you can even keep their QPR, see how they're progressing on a weekly basis, and show them like, hey, look, last week you only got 15 recs. This week you got 15 on 1 appointment. Do you see how you're improving? Even when like the reps, maybe their sales didn't improve, you're still giving them that recognition on improving on something. So now you retain that rep, for an extra week or 2. So that's great for Sundays every single week. Any questions, by the way, on the QPR checking or when all that actually happens? No? We're good on QPRs then? Sweet. So moving to the next thing is how to enter base pay. I hope you all know how to do that. If not, I'm going to show you right now, right here. Boom. Okay, so here's how you enter Base pay. It's simple. You go to base pay calculator.
Oh, can I add something to this, Marilyn?
Yeah.
Just understand that, you probably know this, that the amount they sell versus the base pay, you only supplement their paycheck with base pay.
Yeah.
Just because they did 15 appointments and sold like 300 CPO, you don't give them full base pay.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I messed up like
Show you how you do it. So let's go to like a random rep. Let's go to a random rep. So this rep right here, let's say she did,
Can I make a back in the day comment here? When I was recruited in 1980, not on a weekly basis, it ran on cycles of 100 presentations. The base pay did not even apply until you completed 100 demos.
yeah, I heard that.
What the heck? We thought it was heresy when they dropped it to 80 and then 40, and then people were like, we're cutting. And then
Oh my gosh. All right, so look at this up here. So this is easier for you, by the way. All you have to do is on Tuesdays, that they filled out on Monday, and put the number of presentations at 15, and let's say she had 3 sales, and let's say she sold 250 bucks. I'll tell you here how much you're spending on base pay is going to be supplemented to her. It doesn't say how much you're spending on it, and then how much she made off her sale. Let's say you accidentally, you put base pay in and you're like, so let's say you're almost go backwards. Let's say let's say you're so delirious from like the summer. You're like, oh my gosh, did I enter base pay? This happened to me so many times. And you go back on there. If you already entered it, it'll be like, you already entered base pay for this person. Are you sure you want to enter it again? So you can't mess up on base pay. Any questions on that? No? Perfect.
You have to do
When you enter
it
base pay?
Tuesday.
So what I would
Well, you can do it Wednesdays, but you have till 5 p.m. But here's a fact, is that Wednesdays, you're like crazy busy. You have interview, key staff, team meeting, team night out, you know? So 90% of the time, if you haven't done it on Tuesday, you're going to forget on Wednesday. And then your reps, don't get paid, and then you get those calls, and that's not ever fun. I don't know if you've ever gotten those calls before. How to put somebody on base pay probation, you just learned that. How to put in the sales report, that's simple.
Dude, this is saving so much money in this summer already.
Go to my office. All right, go to my office. Then you go to enter weekly sales right here. And everything will pop up. Scroll down. Everything will pop up here for people that have Rollo. If you have stuff that's not on Rollo, it's simple. You just have to search for the representative. So you type in the rep's name, you search them, you select them, and you enter their non-Rollo stuff, and you save the changes. Once this is finished, you click report complete, notify the region, and it'll send your sales report right over there. If you do not complete this, the region is only going to count your sales that were on Rollo, and if you had any non-Rollo orders, it's not going to end up on the report, so it's not going to end up on the newsletter. So when do you want to do this? Monday morning by 9 a.m., get it done.
What do you mean on the orders?
Like orders that you have to mail up. So if you have like an international order or somebody that turned it in and they didn't put it on Rollo, you mail it up to Olean. Cool.
Basically, just make sure all your reps roll.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what, are you guys finding there's a lot of weeks where 100% of the orders are rolling?
That's like every week. Yeah.
It's only the
Like international orders, you usually have to mail because they turn to problem orders, so you mail them anyway.
it's usually the
Because we
back.
used to drop $10 a week, or twice a week on an overnight.
Yeah.
It's only the back of the day managers that call the region and they're like, we'll make sure my report's right still.
That's fine. Just checking.
The sales report, by the way, used to be so much more of a pain in the butt. You used to have to enter every rep, all like their CPO, and if you didn't do it within 10 minutes, it would like refresh your page because you took too long. It was the worst. And in the summer, when we had like 60 reps on the team, Kathy would tell us, just input everybody over $1,000. Everybody else just don't put them on there, and we'll just report the total because it would take so long. You'd have to put person by person, and then it would ask you questions. Are they on key staff? Were they a weekend warrior? What was their weekend warrior CPO? It was. Yeah.
And then my report showed up as like I shipped like $60,000 for the week.
That's so funny. Yeah, the old weekly sales report was you know what. So how to check orders for mistakes, that's not really applicable anymore. Just make sure they all roll their orders. How to log orders, how to collect sample kits. Do all of you know how to make the sample kit call?
What?
How to collect sample kits. You guys know how to make the sample kit calls or no?
Your sword, please.
I make the, well, see,
Quickly, we don't have that much time.
We're listening to a lot of kids, so I was like, I'm going through this, you charge like $50, so I would call, if you didn't answer, I would go pick it up from you.
Yeah, it was a nice.
And I got most of them back.
Okay, so it's fit, what, $54 a kit? If you-
Yeah, so I was like,
Because I've got some ideas about how to collect those less expensively, so.
All right, so it's easy. If you have a good sample kit system, you shouldn't lose any sample kits. So let me just walk you through something simple that you can do that I did in my DM office. Is basically hand out the hold on. Actually hand out the sample thing where they sign. That way you have like a physical copy of it, or also on Vector Live you can pull up their contract of where they signed as well, that you know this is like their sample kit, whatever. And you just read over it with them while you're in training. That way they understand exactly how the sample kit works. And you want to tell them like, hey, if you don't turn in an order for a week, expect a call from us, you know, looking for the sample kit if we haven't heard from you. Also, do you guys collect references from them or no?
yes.
Yeah.
Some people are just rude.
If it's been a week and I haven't heard from them, I don't wait 2-3 weeks. I call their references if they don't show up to advanced training on Monday. If it's over the weekend, I didn't hear from them, they didn't show up to advanced training, I'm calling their references and I'm saying, hey, I hope everything's okay. You know, they were just supposed to be in training today and they didn't show up. What happened? And sometimes their mom is like, oh, they're here on the couch right now. You want to talk to them real quick? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And when you talk to them, after like when it's within like the first like 3 attempts, you want to be very nice about it. I've heard people say some crazy things before. You don't want you know don't lie to them. Obviously, I just tell them like, hey, it's been a week, or hey, it's been a couple of days, we haven't heard from you. What happened? And you can kind of dive in with them and dig deeper on what's going on. And just see when you can get them in. Don't talk about turning in the kit for good when it's like brand new like that. Just see when you can get them in. And we actually did this with one of the reps. He was like, I don't think I can do the job. I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I was like, I personally think you can do it. Either way, even if you were going to quit, I need you to come to the office anyway to turn your sample kit. So why don't you pop by today? What time are you available? He's like, 4. I'm like, perfect, come in. Had a PC with them. This was like in Miami, like a couple years. I don't even remember if it was 2013. And we actually kept him around. But there are cases where you don't keep him around. But if you're just really nice about it, they'll come in that first time. The second time, let's say they promise you that they're going to come in and they don't come in. The second time you talk to them, it's kind of like hey, the company's getting on my back right now. You want to blame it on the company, because it's true. They are sending you emails like, hey, this person's kit is outstanding. You need to get this kit, whatever. So you can just tell them like, hey, the company just sent me an email today that your kit has actually been, we haven't heard from you, and your kit's out there on loan for 2 weeks now. And, I wouldn't want, the company to take anything into their own hands. When can you come in to turn it in? And then, at that point, you'll set a date. The third time that you don't hear from them, that's when you can get like a little bit more stern and say like, hey, like I said before, the company's on my back and I really need you to turn your kit. You signed a contract, and sometimes I've had kids over anybody that you're calling for a sample kit and they hang up on you. Like,
yes.
What I do is I take a screenshot of their contract and I send it to them like, hey, company's gonna have a contract. Obviously I need this kid in right away. And like, okay, I'm on my way. Because when people know that it's in writing, that's when they freak out, right? So if it's like the third time, I'll like send them a picture and I'm like, hey, just remember you signed this contract. The company, is really getting on my case about it. I'm pretty sure they're going to get on your case, and you don't want that to happen. So let's just get your sample kit in as soon as possible, and we won't have any issues. And after that, if you don't hear from them, they don't come in, I just say, you know what? I don't care if they're still picking up the phone when I call. I want to talk to their references, and you just call their references right then and there. And usually when they do miss the time that they're supposed to come in, I'll call their references. It depends what's going on in the office at the moment, because sometimes I'll realize and it's like 8 o'clock and they said they're coming in at 5, and I'm like, I'll call the references tomorrow. I'll call them again later on. So you just want to make sure that you're collecting your kits you don't want to have outstanding kits at the end of the summer. Trust me.
Yeah, make sure you get character references.
Yeah, and make sure also that you're always keeping a good sample kit consignment. Make sure you count your kits at the end of each week when you're making them for training. Make sure you have the amount that you're supposed to have in your office. You never know if somebody could have stolen them. And that's like the worst case scenario, because then obviously you get charged for it. You just want to make sure that you know how many kits you have in your office at all time. There was one point in my first summer where like my office, the way it was set up was, if this was my bullpen, like I had a small closet right there, and I meant to put a lock on it for like the longest time, never did. And I had all my sample kits there, but I had them like on a really high shelf where you had to, get on a step stool. And I was keeping count of it, lost count of it for like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, I'll count them in a month when SC2's over. I'm just like so crazy, whatever. They're so high up. I'm so short. I don't want to grab them, whatever. And I remember going back and counting them. I had like 6 or 7 missing kits, where it was like, they're not out on loan, I don't know where they are, and getting charged for those kits is not fun at all. So just keep count, put a lock on your closet, put a lock on your safe, do whatever you have to do, but just keep count on a weekly basis, and make sure you update it on Vector Connect so that field service or samples at Cutco aren't calling you to ask how many kits that you have, because they'll just assume that they're outstanding. So just make sure you're keeping a good track of that. So how to PDI, we're going to go over that after the break. Right, so they have to turn in an order once a week, or else not. And when they get to the office, you're going to dig deep with them and figure out what the issue is, why they haven't been contacting you, and depending on how comfortable you are, giving them their kit back, they can. My rule is always like have them set up demos. And if they have demos ahead of them, I'll let them check the kit out, because nobody that really doesn't want to be at the job is going to make the calls to book 5 demos if they don't want to be there. But if it's somebody that truly wants to do well, they'll make the calls, they'll set the appointments, and then I'm totally cool with them having a sample kit, but just making sure that you're really stern with them on the line of communication that you need to have, and that you need them at the events, like team meeting and the PSP meeting. So PDI, we're going to go over after. First week in PDI, we'll go over after how to give a talk, how to prepare it, how to deliver it, how to connect with the audience. These are all things like that you do in team meeting, obviously, like the art of promotion. We're going to go over that more tomorrow. Kathy's going to go over the art of promotion, which is really important. So I'm not going to go into it too much, but really do take some time to prepare for your team meeting. For branches, this is like your one summer, right? Like your one shot at like really impacting these kids and like building something amazing. So do your job and your duty to them to like give them your 100%. We say in training that part of their expectation of you should be to give 100% to them, right? So if you're not preparing yourself for the team meeting, it all goes hand in hand. In DMs, you're obviously building your office. Why not build a rocking organization from the start, so you can live that DM lifestyle, a year, 2, 3 years down the road, depending on how long it takes you to build it. So team meetings are definitely one of those times, because if you think about it, you don't get physical like contact with them during the week. So whenever you see them, you want to make sure you're giving 100%, because that's when you can impact and influence the most. So that all ties in together. We'll talk about that tomorrow. How to do the newsletter. We just spoke about how to work with new reps. And how to do skills check, we spoke about that too. Well, the skills checkpoints are, we talked about that. How to delegate a small task. I guess that's when you're working with. We're finishing. We're finishing now. I'm on the bottom part of the list right here.
Hey, no rush, the water has yet to boil, so. I mean,
So
it's
you might
about
have
to
some
boil,
snacks
but
and
it only
things
takes
like
another
that.
7 or 8 minutes. The mac and cheese will be probably
On the next break.
She's not using.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we're like 10 minutes away. So how to do skills check, we spoke about. Okay, so small tasks. So this is if you have somebody in your office that you've just started working with, you're trying to get them to advance in a management capacity, and you need to delegate a small task to them. One example would be like I had one of my newer reps while I was in an interview help me confirm team meeting. That could sound like a small task, but it's actually a little bit larger than it seems, because you don't want them to say the wrong thing. The number one thing you have to do is write bullet points on what they have to do, and like make sure you clarify everything and have them ask you questions. And if you need to, have them like do a sample of whatever it is you need them to do. So for example, if you want them to do sample kits, what I would do is I would always do an example of a sample kit, an example of a blue book, and it'd be like, follow this. I'd have them do it in front of me, and then I'd say, perfect, I need 20 of them. Get it done. And that's how you delegate a small task. But you want to make sure that you're walking them through everything, tell them how to do it, watch them do it, and then have them do that. Basic, all right? So you do it, they do it, and then have them do that. Because if not, if you start delegating small tasks and you don't really give them any direction, like the kid that I had started to confirm my team meeting, the conversations were sounding like this. He was like, hey dude, are you coming to team meeting tonight? Oh, you can't? All right, cool. I'll put it down here. I'll tell Mary Lou. No, that's not how you do it, right? So it was my fault, obviously, because I didn't teach him how to have those conversations, but you don't want something like that to happen. So just make sure you're delegating a small task properly. How to run a pre-meeting, and this is pre-meeting before any meeting, before a division meeting or like SC2, anything like that, you'll get your whole team together. Before team meeting, it's always really cool to huddle up with like your top people. And maybe when it's like brand new, it's really you and your assistant managers and you're just in the huddle, but that creates like a separation between you and your top people and the representatives. So they're like, oh my gosh, I wonder what they're doing over there. What are they doing in that huddle? You know, so having that pre-meeting huddle is very important. It's very powerful. And what do you do in that pre-meeting huddle? Any idea? No. What do you tell them?
I would say like target specific reps and like if there's like a phone, like when you do like phone round or something.
Basically what you do is you ask for their leadership. It's simple. It's really 3 steps. Ask for their leadership and tell them how they can be leaders and then get them excited. So for example, I'd be like, if it's before a division meeting, I'm like, hey guys, you know, I'm really excited about this meeting, so fired up for the agenda today. I'm really gonna ask for your leadership today because we're the future champion office of blank territory. And as a future champion office of blank territory, here's how we can lead by example. Make sure when the division manager, Kathy, comes up, you guys are the loudest, craziest people in the room. Don't be too cool for school. Make sure you have your pen and paper ready to take some massive notes. Can't wait for you to hear a talk from blank, blank, blank person. And then, of course, just bring the energy. All right? So then you do a little chant, get them fired up, boom, ready to go to team meeting or ready to go into division meeting. And now your team is like they're celebrating with everybody. They're not those too cool for school kids that aren't like dancing on the chairs at SC2. They're up there. They're doing crazy stuff because you promoted them. You got them excited. And obviously that creates all kinds of things, you know, for them and for the meeting, like retention, just makes them have a good time, I guess. And then for team meeting with like your key staff, it's the same thing. Ask for their leadership. Like, hey guys, I just want to get with the key staff real quick. Super excited for tonight's team meeting. You know, look at all the new people we have on our team. I'm really going to count on you guys and your leadership. As you can tell, there's so many of you. I'm not going to be able to work as hard with you today. I need to kind of focus on the new guys. I want to set up your friends for interviews. So make sure you lead the charge with that and lead the charge with setting up demos. For all the new guys, I'm going to be walking around. A lot of them need a lot of help. So I'm really going to be counting on you to just lead. We get, you know, 6, 7, 8, 10 appointments, whatever your number is for each of them, set, you know, between this group right here, for each of you right here. So, you know, whatever, you know, let's get excited, let's get fired up. Help me out, you know, while we're in team meeting, whenever I talk about, you know, like key staff, get excited. You're the key staff members. You guys should be the ones that are most excited about this when I talk about this in team meeting. All your key staff members are I remember I had one key staff member in my office, and I had a team meeting of like 6 people, and I was like, dude, I need you to get fired up today when I talk about key staff. And I was like, all right, guys, I want to talk about something called key staff. And he was like, yeah, key staff. And there's like 6 people at my team meeting, and everybody's just looking at him like, I was like, Louis, tell him what key staff is. I was like, Louis, tell him what key staff is. He's like, guys, key staff is awesome. It's the top people in the office, and yeah, Mary Lou like has cool contests with you and stuff. So it was just awesome. So just the pre-meeting is really important.
Was it still out?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so those pre-meeting meetings before the meetings are huge because you can create so much from that.
That stuff that is very impacting.
Yeah, and when you think about it, if you just send your reps to a conference and you don't prep them on like what to expect, they're not gonna do anything. They're just gonna sit there, listen to the talks, not take notes, kind of be in la la land. They're gonna see people on chairs and be like, what the, I'm not gonna do that, you know? And that's your fault as a manager, by the way. When your reps are too cool for school, not doing what they're supposed to, that's your fault as a manager. So you wanna make sure you prep them the right way. And I remember there's times where we might have had like a badass team in Miami, like 30, 40 people at SC1, and they're just there doing this. Look at that guy. Look, that guy's on a chair right now. What's going on here, right? And they're like too cool for school. And I remember Jeff, when you're coming up to us, he was so mad. He's like, Mary Lou, why is your team too cool for school right now? Like, you guys need to fix this ASAP. He told Randy, our sales manager, and Randy got everybody from like SC1 and like put them all together. And he's like, guys, we need to be the most impressive team right now. We're the Miami team, Sharpies. And after that, you know, like at SC2, it was like completely different. Like these guys were on chairs, on tables, like dancing on stage. Like it was awesome. Flipping tables, you know, flipping people, yeah, flipping off the stage, you know, but that all creates a culture, and you want that culture of like a fun environment. You're not going to have that by having kids that are there that are too cool for school, you know? So those pre-meeting huddles, how to sit at meetings, plant seeds with new reps. Obviously, always have your best reps closest to you. At my team meetings and even in Miami, we'd always reserve row 1 for our key staff members, and row 2 if it was a larger key staff. And then the next row would be like our top, you know, new kids. And then we would have like everyone else, everyone else in the back.
Would you like, I don't know, so like would people be like, I want to sit?
Hold up, guys. I got a PDI call. Got PDI. Kevin, what's going on?
Yes, Meredith. Right now we put the appointment on pause. Like, you know, it's my cousin, and she has to go somewhere, but I'm going to the same place. So
Okay, what time are you gonna finish the appointment at?
Well, I will start it. We're gonna combine the next appointment because the next one is my mom's, and we're going to our house.
Okay.
So I will start. So I will do the presentation with my mom, and along with her, just, you know, finish it both together.
Hey, Kevin, is it cool if I give you a suggestion, man?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Remember when I was talking about in training how it's better to do your appointments one-on-one and not in a group setting?
Yeah,
yeah, also though, remember, Kevin, on your contract you signed that for the base pay you need to do them one-on-one too anyway.
Oh, okay.
But besides that, imagine this. Imagine instead of doing one appointment with 2 people, the average is always lower, by the way, if I'm being upfront with you. Let's say you do close on both of them. Let's say they both buy $200. Would that be pretty exciting?
Not really.
Not really? Well, I mean, if you're brand new, you haven't had a sale yet, maybe. But you want to know what's even more exciting?
Right.
Having 2 appointments where they spend $200 today and get like $1,000 worth of stuff. Is that exciting?
Right.
Yeah, so here's what I would do. I would see if you could just finish the appointment with your cousin later on tonight, maybe after your 9:30 appointment or in between your 7:30 and your 9:30 if you have time for that. If not, I would see them first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, or do you want me to do it like before I start the next one, I could just finish up with her and then go along to the next one?
That works perfect.
All right.
Okay, now, by the way, I really appreciate you taking my advice on this one. Trust me, I've just seen so many representatives who have just not done what I say, and they just mess up so many potential sales and leads. And I want to make sure that being brand new, we're obviously starting off the right way. Cool?
Okay, thanks.
All right, Kevin, so what are you doing between now and your next appointment?
If I have church.
Oh, you have church. Cool. What time does church start?
Yes, 6:30.
6:30. Oh, it's 6:30 right now. Cool. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you back from church. So, how about this? Shoot me a text when you get out of church. That way we can see if we can make our 5 calls before. Because right now you're not going to have time to make your 5 calls after this appointment, and we'll talk right before you see your cousin. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Kevin. Talk to you soon, buddy. Bye. All right. Cool. So moving forward. How to field train and have the reps pop right after. This really doesn't apply to you directly. You're going to take your reps field training, of course. towards the end of the summer, but you want to be able to teach your representatives how to take people field training the right way. So what are things that you need to tell your reps to prepare them for field training? Things to do and things not to do. Any idea?
Oh, what do you tell them?
Yeah.
Don't
what?
try to help with the demo. Just you were there. You can talk.
Just shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's what I tell them, like, yo, dude, I know you're going field training with Mario tomorrow. Here's what I need you to do. Take a notebook and pen, dress nice, and shut up. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you don't want to ruin this appointment. You're there to learn. You're not there to teach, and you're not there to be involved. So just go, say hi to the customer, be really nice, and then just be quiet the rest of the time. Shake their hand in the beginning, shake their hand at the end, but Mario's doing the appointment. Got it? Got it. All right, perfect. Cool. What do you tell the person that's field training them?
Success.
Just
make
pretend like
sure-
you're not there.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
pretend like behind you, not directly at the table.
Okay.
Always basically set the right example that you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Make sure you're following the manual. Make sure you're hitting every key point you have. You have 8, 9, and 15 memorized. And then
You mentioned that?
what?
This is field training.
Oh, okay.
That, yeah, all that stuff, super important. But one of the biggest ways you can create a pop right after sending one of your reps field training is, number one, making sure that the representative that's going field training has appointments right after so they can implement right away. So what you should have them do is, number one, meet at the office if it's close enough. If not, a landmark by there. Have the rep leave their car and ride with the person field training them to the demo. And one of the next things I'm going to tell you is teach them how to have the car conversation. So they ride to the demo together. The rep, on the way back, they have the car conversation again, drops them off at their car, and they go do a demo right after. That way they can see immediate results, all right?
It's just something mostly we do for like every different meeting, team meeting, PC, anything like that. Just make sure you always have a certain amount of demos completed before we meet for this certain thing. And also they just feel more confident because they already have demos.
Yeah, definitely. So what should you tell the person field training them to ask or talk about in the car conversation? Let's say the person taking them is like one of your fairly new key staff members. What do you think you should tell them to talk about in the car?
We should do a sandwich, so you do good, and you're supposed to improve on.
Well, they're not watching their demo. Their rep is watching them.
Oh, okay.
On the car, on the way, talk to them about key staff.
The key staff or
Like what it takes to get on there.
Just think about this. Just think about, what do I need in my office right now? Do you need an intern? Do you need an AM? Do you need a key staff member? Whoever's on your key staff should be excited about the next thing you need in your office, whether it's an assistant, intern position, branch, and then you just tell them, hey, what I want you to do before you go into this demo is why don't you talk to them about all the things you're just like fired up about, and ask them what they're fired up about. And then tell them the things to look out for in your demo. Maybe your rep is really good at like recommendations, and you send the kid that's not really good at it. You can tell the person field training them, hey, make sure you let Bobby know that you're really great at recommendations, so to watch out for that section. And then when that rep is in the demo, they're taking a lot more notes. They're paying attention. They're watching out for the sections. That that they had told them. So make sure you teach them how to have that first combo, and then the last combo, right when they're finished with the appointment, is not, hey, what'd you think of my demo? That's like the wrong question to ask. Is, hey, what'd you take away? What did you learn? What am I doing that you're not doing right now? Oh, following the manual. Awesome, dude. So, and then teaching the person field training them to ask, the more in-depth questions like, cool, so what are you going to do on your next appointment? How do you feel like you can make a bigger impact in your demo after seeing this one? So just teaching them how to have those conversations. And last couple things is reps who want to quit, how to ask hard questions. Reps who want to quit and asking hard questions. So if somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to quit, what do you say? Get out of here.
Go find another job.
Get your damn kid.
No.
Bro, is this what you're gonna treat your future career opportunity or dream like?
What? You really say
Not
that?
like that. You build up to it. It's like if you quit now, you're gonna quit.
Well, I mean,
Put it all on the line.
if it's somebody that's
It'll
a
work.
top person, if it's a top person, you have like a really good like rapport, and they've been working with you for like 4 or 5 months, I don't have a problem saying that. But if it's somebody who's a little bit newer, you want to ask why. What? Oh, he's good at it? Oh, so what do you say if somebody wants to quit?
I'm good at it.
Go. like a top person?
No, let's say like a new guy.
Francisco's new and
Like, okay, you want to quit? Well, what's going on? So I'd ask him a question.
Oh, I don't know. I just don't think I can do it.
And you don't think you can do it? So you're just not making sales, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making sales, so I'm not really making the amount of money I want to make.
Okay. Well, how many appointments have you been doing?
I don't know. I think I've done like 5, so a pretty good amount.
Pretty good amount.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was in training and in the interview, what's the average part-time schedule?
What are you on?
I'm on like right here, on the bottom.
Okay.
I'm almost in. A part-time schedule. Well, I don't know. Was it like 20, 16, 10? 10? Was it 10?
No,
I'm acting like the rep right now.
Yeah, it's about 7 to 10 a week.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
just keep going. You're in a good pace. Keep going.
Yeah, it's about 7 to 10 a week.
Okay. I've done 5. Like that's close to 7.
And you haven't done
No.
Okay. How many weeks is this?
Well, I started like, I don't know, 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay, well, go ahead and bring your kit.
All right. I mean, you started off well.
If they were like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised though, like what you can actually create from the person that's kind of like, here's what I would do. So one time I was on a boss call. I don't know if you guys remember boss calls, or if you ever heard of a boss call. Basically, Andrew Smallwood like facilitated, and I guess kind of facilitated these boss calls where all the top managers in the company would like speak and stuff. And one time they had a boss call with Amar DeVay, and he was like delivering the message. And I remember I was an AM, and I remember listening to this call. I don't even think I was supposed to be on there, but I was listening to it. And Amar always said that you want to ask the second and third question. An okay manager asks the first question. A good manager asks the second one, and great managers ask the third, fourth, and fifth question. Example would be, "Hey, dude, how'd your phone jam go?" An okay manager would just ask that one question and stop right there. How'd it go? Good. A good manager would be like, all right, cool. How many calls did you make? 20. And they would stop right there. A great manager would be like, awesome. How many did you book? 4. The I guess outstanding manager would go from there. Cool. When did you book them for? How many people picked up the phone? And keep going from there and diving in, because we all know that when you're phone jamming, the only aspect of it is not how many you booked. You also have to look at how many that representative reached. What if they reached like 18 of those people and they only booked 4 of them? Right? Yeah, something's going wrong, but you would have never known that unless you asked the second, third, or fourth, or sometimes fifth or sixth question, right? So when somebody wants to quit, it's like, cool, why do you feel that? Why do you want to quit? Okay, and what else? And what else? And what else is going on? Oh, your parents don't like the job, and you start figuring out all the real reasons, like parents don't like the job, spending too much gas money, and then you can really handle the problem and teach them how to fix it, and you could create like another 2, 3, 4, 5K rep from that. So sometimes the simple line of, I just want to quit because I don't think I can do it, as a manager, it's just, it can't be good enough for you to want to take their sample kit. You have to ask that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth question and dive in deeper with them to really figure it out. Because you hired them for a reason. You wouldn't have hired them if you didn't think they could sell at least $1,000 or $250, right? So if they haven't done that yet, it's your job not to let them quit, because they really haven't done what it is that they set out to do while they were there. You ever had that person in training that's like, I want to do 10K, and you really think they can do 10K, and then their first week on the job, they're giving up, so you're giving up too? And you're like, I don't know if they can do it anymore. Well, number one, the representatives feel that, so they know that you're giving up on them. And number two, you're not really giving them a fair shot as your rep on your team, and you're not giving them the right experience. Does that make sense? So when somebody says, I want to quit, it's not like, oh, okay. Why? Oh, it's not like, oh, okay, Drew. And I know where you were saying, what you were getting to with. Do you remember what I said in training? The average is 10. You haven't even done 10. You haven't even given yourself a shot yet. That's like the basic stuff we always say. But an outstanding manager is going to dive deeper into that. And you'd be surprised how many people we say. Tovar, that moved to Houston with me, was one of those reps who wanted to quit when he came in his first Sunday meeting. And I sat down with him and I was like, what's actually going on? My car broke down. Okay, you don't have a car to get to demos. Have you seen your neighbors yet? You haven't seen your neighbors yet? Cool, why don't we see them? All of a sudden, quitting wasn't even an option. And it was like he was still there to set out what he had to do. You know how many times that boy tried to quit on me? Like 15 times. And he just moved to frickin' Houston with me. Yeah. Yeah, but no, you laugh about it, but it's true. On 3 different occasions, he came in tears, telling me that he wanted to quit. And I was like, and I would look at him in the face and like, Tovar, you're not meant to leave this job yet. Like, you have too many goals. You put in too much time, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, you're not meant to leave yet. And this guy just moved halfway across the country to come work with me in Cafe. Crazy, right? So imagine all those reps that you've had those combos with. Imagine if like they were still around today, and even if they didn't sell a lot, because he didn't sell a lot, they still added to that. And there's so many things that without him wouldn't have happened, you know, in the office. So you created something from that. Sorry, I went off on kind of like a tangent, but huh? Yeah, there's so many stories of, you know, people handling quitting conversations, and that's why people stuck around. So last couple of things, and then we'll eat. It just says team night out, creating business relationships, how to fix reps. Kat's going to talk about tomorrow, and what to talk about on car rides. We already talked about that. So it's team night out, creating business. This is important. Any of you ever heard of the napkin talk PC?
Yes.
Light bulb PC. They all have different kind of names. It's just simple. This is how you do it. Let's say you're hanging with your rep at team meeting, and you just talk to them, and you're like, hey, have you thought about fill in the blank, whatever it is you need in your office, right? I remember when I needed assistant managers, and I was just hanging out with my 2K rep. He's at team meeting, and I'm like, Brian, have you ever thought about assistant manager? And he's like, no. I was like, well, why? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I just don't feel like I can be an assistant manager. Oh, okay, why is that? I don't know. I just haven't sold a lot. Okay, so if you sold a lot, would you have more confidence being an assistant manager? Yeah, I'm like, cool. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to promote you like tomorrow or anything. There's definitely still a lot you got to do and a lot you have to earn. But how cool would it be if, like, next week at the team meeting, we could even get you on key staff? You know, you hit your next promotion, we get you on key staff. I think that'd be cool. By the way, Brian ended up being one of my assistant managers before I closed my district office. Him, this other guy, Mason, and Travis were the only reason I stayed open so long during the fall, because they sold a combination of like just like 30, 40 grand between like them 3. I wasn't recruiting like at all for like 2 months of the fall, and they just sold. So you just have to ask the have you ever thought about questions. Cool. Any questions on anything we covered?
It generated my summer.
That was astounding, by the way. That was high level information, guys.
Yeah.
Got it? Cool. So when we're gonna take a break so you guys can eat. When we get back, we're gonna talk about PDI, one of my favorite topics. So I'm really fired up about that. So cool. You're free to eat. Free to eat. Let me stop this.